Simon O'Connor.
Very pleased to take a call after the honourable member who's just taken a seat, and the Minister, of course, as the Honourable Annette King pointed out, the Health Select Committee is not afraid of tackling the tough issues. In fact, we seem to have made a habit of it in the last few years of attracting pretty much all of them. I think if we get one more sort of issue, and I won't mention what that might be, sort of like a bingo session. Can I say I am pleased to take a call on this health fluoridation of drinking water amendment bill, and to acknowledge the Minister or Ministers who are responsible for this. I know the Honourable Peter Dunn is primarily leading this, but also in cooperation with the Minister of Health, Jonathan Coleman. I think this is a very important bill, and I say to the Minister here in the House, my thanks for bringing it. I think I'm personally looking forward to having it in the Select Committee, and by the sounds of early indications, granted 3 speeches in, we should have the numbers. This is an important piece of legislation, but I think one of the things I want to stress right from the outset, and I think it probably will affect the way the committee addresses things, but I don't want to presume what we as a group will have as a discussion, is that this is not about, first and foremost, fluoridation itself. This is not an argument around the merits of fluoridation or otherwise. This is a discussion about where the jurisdiction lies to have it put into the water. Is it via councils, where it sits currently, or is it done by the DHBs? And I say that particularly to those who are interested in the debate and those who continue the debate around the efficacy of fluoride. Because, again, this is not about whether fluoride is good or bad in the water. It's about who makes the decisions. And I think quite rightly, this is being dealt with now, or being proposed to be dealt with, as a health issue. I think it's right and proper that this should sit within DHBs and that they consider the issue rather than councils. As I understand things, just over 50% of New Zealand has fluoride in water, just over 50%. Yet it's something like, so I have to look at my notes briefly, I think it's 40%. 40% of young people in New Zealand have issues around tooth decay. And actually, it's a no-brainer, to use a rather colloquial term, that fluoride is a sensible health intervention to try and reduce the incidence of tooth decay. I think the Minister rightly pointed out there's a whole lot of issues that one can look at around the use of sugary and drinks and so forth. But actually, as a single country-wide intervention, fluoride in the water makes sense. Now, I'm slightly biased insofar as in my upbringing, my parents gave me there was these little pills, I've forgotten what they're called, but they were fluoride. I'm trying to think of the brand though, Mr. Nash, but in a little white tube with a green top, and every morning with the Wheat Bix, 2 of them had brought out, absolutely hated them. However, here I am, 40 years of age, and great teeth, no fillings, and I certainly link that to said fluoride tablet, so thanks, Mum. But look, it is a no-brainer on the science, and I want to be very clear about that. I know on controversial issues, I've always gone out in public so people can judge how I run the Select Committee according to, well, the process. But to be very clear where I personally stand, the science on the efficacy of fluoride in water is abundantly clear. Doesn't matter if it's from our Royal Society to Sir Peter Gluckman, and in fact I think it would be really good to have Sir Peter come in and brief us through to the health organisation. I know there are some vocal people out there from a pseudoscience perspective who say that it's a bad thing. The science is clear. And if we are to relook at fluoride again, we might as well start looking at whether the Earth is flat or round, or we should start arguing again whether there is gravity. The case for fluoride is abundantly clear, and I'm very happy to go on the record about that. So I think this bill is an important step forward. As I noted, it is about health first and foremost, so I think it rightly sits in the domain of DHBs. We'll certainly be welcoming those who wish to submit, but signalling to, in my own mindset as one member of the committee, this is about the jurisdiction of who allocates fluoride to the water. It's not about the efficacy of fluoride itself. So I commend this first reading and look forward to it coming to the Health Select Committee.
Porter Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.